Hey everybody, how's it going? Stoutman coming back at you once again, and today probably a bit of a short video, but I still wanted to do this video just because, well, the saga, I guess you could say, with Goodwill continues to go on. Sadly, it's not as good news as I was hoping for, and I mean, if it had been better news, then I would have had a longer video here for you, but with more titles to show you. But that's just not going to happen this time around. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to have two titles to show you, and that's because Goodwill has issues. And I've talked about them at length. Goodwill around here in particular, because I know, I've seen people, I watch Cinema Sickness videos all the time. He goes to Goodwill all the time, and they have titles for $2 to $3 there, Blu-ray and DVD. So if you're living in Pennsylvania or, you know, East Coast, then sure, you can find a Goodwill that gives good prices on their media, no problem. But speaking as somebody who lived in Portland, Oregon, somebody who is living now in more like the Seattle area, anywhere on the West Coast, no matter where you are on the West Coast, you're going to deal with pricing for media that is just freaking ridiculous, because they're asking for relatively common titles, Blu-rays, right? Like I saw Get Smart there, right? And I see Get Smart for a pretty good price pretty much everywhere. And I've been looking to get that title, mind you. But it's not something I want to pay more than, I would say, $4 for. When I saw it after, I'll tell you the whole story, but obviously I didn't get it. I'll tell you why, but before that, just want to let you know that they had it there for $6. And I'm just thinking to myself, but you can get this probably on Amazon for less than that with free Prime shipping. And I'm pretty sure if I go on Amazon right now, I will find a perfect example that I know you can get that movie for a much better deal than that. But Goodwill doesn't care. And they've got titles now, Blu-rays, that they're selling used for $7. They're not lowering the price, they're jacking it up. And they're jacking it up by $1, it looks like about $1 every 6 months or so. Like, they just keep increasing the price every 6 months or so. I don't get why. I've seen those titles don't move off the shelf because nobody's willing to pay that freaking price. But they don't care. They just keep jacking the price up. And one of the reasons it's ridiculous is that a lot of these titles are the same kind of titles that you can find at Target for like $4 or $5 brand freaking new. So if you can get a new Blu-ray for $5 or less, why would you go to Goodwill and get a used Blu-ray for $7? Tell me that, Goodwill. If you're watching, explain that bullshit logic to me. It makes no sense, and you know it makes no sense, but I digress. Thankfully, I ran into one level-headed cashier who was being very nice to me and gave me a deal on these two titles that I did find last week at Goodwill. They were marked at, I believe, $4.99 and $5.99 respectively. Actually, no, if I remember correctly, they were both marked at $4.99. And that was why I was interested in them. One of them in particular because it's not something you see on Blu-ray very often, and when you do, it's usually a much more expensive title. So, regardless, I'll start off with the title that I see for a fairly decent price pretty much everywhere. At least during the Black Friday sales, they usually have it for a fairly decent price, but I never pick it up, and now I'm paying the price for that, I guess. Or that was a thought, at least. Now I'm paying the price for it because I'm going to pick it up anyways for $5. But when I got to the cashier, when I got to the cash register, she said, "Oh, I think these are actually lower priced than what they have marked here." So she rings it up and it comes to $4. I was like, $4? So you're saying all the Blu-rays are $4? She says, "Yep." Okay. And then she goes on to say, "You know, if you get 4 Blu-rays, you can get them for $10 total. And I knew they had that deal for DVDs. If you get 4 DVDs, you can get them for $10 total, which is about the best price on media you're going to find at Goodwill. But they almost never have 4 titles that are worth $2.50 each, to be quite honest. They're all usually very common titles. Just wasn't very interested at the time in that until she said, oh, Blu-rays count too. I was like, well, I'll have to remember that. And I said that knowing very well that I was probably going to come back the very next week, which I did, and try to take advantage of that sale. Of course, before I get too far with that tale, I'm going to leave the rest of that tale for the end of the video and just go ahead and start showing you the Blu-rays that I picked up here for $4 each at least. $4 was a much better price than the $5 per that I was expecting, so I was very happy to find for $4 Ice Age, The Meltdown, which I believe is the second movie in the series. As it goes on, the movies aren't very much better than the first one, obviously. I loved the first one, and I felt like the second one was okay, so I kind of wanted it in my collection, but I didn't want to pay too much for it, so $4, perfect price point. $5 I was willing to do just because, you know, it's so hard to find a good deal on Blu-rays in this area as it is, unless you just do all your shopping on Amazon. So I was just like, you know what, fine, I'll take what I can get, you know. But $4, now that's the price point I would look for this one. $4 is a very good deal for this title, I think. It usually goes for about that price on Black Friday, so pretty good deal. The disc was in good shape, everything looking good here, so I was pretty happy with that. I was so happy when she said they're actually only $4 each, right? So, yeah, I love that cashier, and I hope that I run into her again someday at that Goodwill because, yeah, anyways. The next title, the last title that I got here from Goodwill was Johnny Mnemonic, which, you know, you never see this out in the wild on Blu-ray. You never see it. So when I saw it sitting there, it was like $4.99 or $5.99, I can't remember which, but I think it was $4.99. Anyways, when I saw it sitting there for a halfway decent price, I was just like, usually this goes for like $10 to $15 on Amazon, so yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I'll take advantage of that. And of course, she knocked that down to $4. So $4 for Johnny Mnemonic, very good deal. Especially considering that although I like it, although I think it's a pretty cool kind of sci-fi cyberpunk kind of movie, I don't think it's the best movie. It's just that there weren't really that many good movies in that genre in this period of the 90s. So, you know, I feel like they tried, but they didn't do a too terribly good job. So I didn't want to really pay too much for this, and I never thought I'd actually get it, simply because I knew it was one of those titles that it was just like, this is never going to come down in price. It's never going to come down in price. So, lo and behold, finding it for a halfway decent price used at Goodwill was like, of all the places, I did not expect to find this for a halfway decent price at Goodwill. Especially given all the crap that I've had to deal with, right? $6 or $7 maybe. And even at that, I probably would have said yes, because, again, it's not a title you see for that low a price ever. So, anyways, very happy to have this. Unfortunately, there really aren't any special features on it, but what are you going to do? At least it's Johnny Mnemonic on Blu-ray. I don't know if the transfer's any good, though, but whatever. Still happy to have it in my collection now for a halfway decent price. And I haven't seen it in so long that I know I'm going to enjoy going back to this and checking it out. So, yeah. Unfortunately, that's where the happiness of the story ends, because of course I went back the very next week. I ran into a different cashier. This one was not willing to budge, and quite frankly, I went up there expecting that maybe I was going to have somebody tell me that no, that isn't actually the truth or whatever, right? So I went up there fully ready to just, before even putting the things down and saying, this is what I want, you know. Before even getting started with the sale process, I said, Okay, so is it true that these titles, I had 4 of them, is it true that these are a part of the 4 for 10 deal? And she says, 4 for 10 deal is for titles that are $2.99 and $3.99 each. And I was like, what? Well, okay. When she rung up, when the last person I spoke to about this, when they rung it up, they said that all the Blu-rays were $3.99. So maybe you could check and see if these, even though they have like $5.99, $6.99 price tags, maybe you could check and see if they're actually $3.99 in the system, and if they count toward the sale, the 4 for 10 sale. And she just looked at the price tags and said, well, this one's $5.99 and this one's $6.99. She wasn't willing to budge, and at that point I wasn't going to fight it. I'm not the kind of person who likes to fight these things in front of everybody at a store looking like a jackass. I mean, I don't like doing that. I know some people who like to do that, but I hate doing that. I think part of it is because my dad used to do that and always embarrassed the hell out of me, so just will never do that to anybody ever, especially since I know that it's not really a fun job in retail. So I was just like, okay, thank you, and I calmly walked over, put the titles back on the shelf, walked out. No big deal. It's disappointing. It's very disappointing when people who work there, one person says, actually, these are all $3.99 each, and they are part of the 4 for 10 deal. And then the very next week you come up and you have the intention of taking advantage of that deal that you were told about, and this person says, well, this one's $5.99 and this one's $6.99 and these aren't part of the deal. That's not what the other cashier told me. What the frickin' hell, man? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It doesn't make any sense. We've already gone over how it makes no sense to charge $6 and $7 for used Blu-rays, but you can get new Blu-rays for $5. But it also doesn't make sense when one person in your store says, this is how much it's worth. This is how much it costs. And the other person next week says, no, this is how much it costs. And it's completely different the second time around. What are you talking about? This is like, I have enough issues with you guys charging way too fucking much for used merchandise. You're charging new prices for used merchandise. I have a huge problem with that. But then, when you finally get to the point where I'm looking around and I'm seeing some halfway decent prices for things, and then a cashier tells me, actually, these are part of a deal that makes them even cheaper, I get all excited about that. Like, oh my gosh, is Goodwill coming back? Is Goodwill coming back? No. Stomp that in the dust. No, Goodwill is not coming back. Goodwill is not going to be that good deal place. I was hoping it might be a good place that I can get some good deals, that they might start to like let up, at least at this location. I might be able to find some halfway decent deals, but no, it's not going to happen, guys. I hate to tell you, these are likely the last 2 really good deals I get at that Goodwill location. And I'm not saying I'll never go back there. Of course, I'm going to go back there from time to time, but who knows if I'll find anything for a halfway decent price, especially since they're now charging $7 for certain titles. Who fucking knows? Like, I don't know what the hell these people are thinking. I don't know what the hell Goodwill is thinking, charging that much. And I don't get why in a location on the East Coast, it's no more than $3 for a DVD or Blu-ray. But here on the West Coast, you have to pay double, if not more. Outrageous. Completely outrageous. Unacceptable. What the hell are you even thinking, Goodwill? I don't even know. And this is why I hate going to Goodwill around here, because they really act like a jackass corporation. You know what I mean? They're not trying to cut anybody any deals around here. They're trying to take advantage of people around here. And that's what pisses me off. Oh, you're in a more populated area, so clearly you can afford to pay 2-3 times more, and we're going to make you pay that. Really? Are you fucking kidding me? Is that like the kindness and goodwill that you want to make people feel? Like, that doesn't make anybody feel that you are feeling goodwill for anybody. that it's just so ridiculous. But as I tend to do, I digress. So anyways, that rant being over, I am pretty happy that I got these for $4 each. Pretty good deal. But I would like to find out that the deal she told me about was actually true and real, and that I would be able to take advantage of it. Maybe someday I'll go back and she'll be there, the same cashier, and I'll be like, remember when you told me these were part of the 4 for $10 deal? And she'll be like, yeah, they're part of that. And then I'll be able to get that deal. Maybe. But when it all relies on having a decent cashier, a decent human being who's willing to give you the deal that these should be going for, what am I going to do? Wait around outside of a Goodwill every day to see if this cashier comes in? Like, no, that's ridiculous. So anyways, that'll do for me today. I got some goodies, some pretty good titles, but not much to write home about, sadly. So, very happy with this title because it's not something you see for a good price ever. This one, well, $4 was about the right price for it, you know. But other than that, you know, not much there. As usual, and the sad part of it is, like, that's the only, it's the only thrift store in the area. So, like, it's that or nothing. Or you have to drive 30 minutes out of the way to go somewhere else. And for somebody who likes to go thrift shopping as much as I do, it's a real bummer. It's a real bummer. It just sucks. Anyways, that'll do it for me today. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later. Peace.